No, I'm not able to see you. Yeah, very good. So good morning, Mikyas. So can you please introduce yourself? Your sound is not audible. No, it's not able to hear your voice. Can you hear me? Just show me if you can hear me. Okay. Oh, okay. Good. Okay. Okay, let's continue. You can see him later. I think he has some mic issues. Okay, now we'll move on to the first module that we have started last class. Is the PPT visible to you?
Yeah, visible, ma'am.
Yes?
Visible, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So here, I'll just go through because the last class, the other students have already heard this. Please bear for me for 5 minutes. Let me tell all these things once again to the newcomers. Okay. So the design of tall structures. So I was asking last class, what do you mean by a high-rise building? So a high-rise building, it depends upon person to person. They will define it in a different way. So actually, it is a person or community's perception. That means if in a village where there are no tall structures, there is a 2-story or 3-story building. So those people will tell that that is a tall structure. But at the same time, the same 3-story building, if it is located in an urban area where there are number of other tall buildings are there, then those people will tell that that is not a tall structure. So accordingly, the communities or the perception, high-rise structures will vary. The definition of high-rise structure will vary. But as a structural engineer's point of view, a tall structure or a high-rise building can be defined as one that because of its height affected by lateral forces due to wind or earthquake. Any structure which is affected by the wind or earthquake or any horizontal forces, then we can call that particular structure as a high-rise structure. But most frequently we say high-rise structure is the one which is with respect to its height, we mentioned with respect to its heights. So if that building, if it is affected by wind or earthquake forces, then we can surely call it as a high-rise structure. Okay. Then why we have to go for tall buildings? That last class we have discussed. The scarcity of land in urban areas, increasing demand for business and residential space, economic growth, technological advancements. That means every year the technology is changing. So new construction techniques are coming. Innovations in structural system. Every year we can see new structural systems. Materials are coming. New materials are coming. Composite structures are coming. So innovations in structural system will help us to do some more tall structures. And desire for aesthetic and urban setting, because in an urban area the aesthetic is very important. So people will go for modernizing the building or to do some aesthetic value to the face of the building. So we do go for high-rise structures. Then the concept of skyline, that means everywhere in cities and all we say that it is a vertical buildings. So that becomes, if you go to Dubai or Gulf or any other foreign countries, we can see only tall structures. We cannot see any individual houses there. So that's city skyline. That is one concept. Cultural significance and prestige. So because of the prestige and the cultural values, we go for some high-rise structures. And human aspiration. Let me wait. Human aspirations to build higher. Human aspirations to build higher. So that lead us to build high-rise structures. Okay. Now, how do you select a particular structural system for a high-rise structure? Okay, how do you select? So whenever you construct a structure, a high-rise building, the first and foremost important point is what is the function of the building. For what purpose you are going to construct the tall structure. Okay, whether it is a commercial building or a residential building or a hospital building, whatever it is, the function is known to you first initially. Then the internal, according, if it is a hospital, the internal planning has to be different. If it is a residential building, the internal planning to be different. Commercial building, that is different. So based on, because if you need more space inside, then accordingly the structural system has to be taken. Or if everything should be closely packed, then accordingly the structural system has to be selected. And similarly, the material and method of construction. Material method of construction means material, whether it is a concrete or a steel or a composite or a timber, whatever is the material that you are choosing, accordingly the structural system has to be selected. External architectural treatment, that means you are cladding or glazing the facade, whatever architectural externally you are giving, accordingly the system has to be selected. The location, where the building is going to be located, whether it is in a highly windy area or it is in an urban area or a rural area, where the location the building is going to be located, accordingly you have to select because you should know the site conditions, the soil conditions, everything has to be taken into consideration before you go for a high-rise structure. Then the routing of service systems, as I was explaining, service systems are nothing but your plumbing, sewage, water, all this service system. It has to be AC, ventilation, air conditioning, all the service system has to be accommodated. So if you choose a wrong structural system, it will be difficult for you to place the service systems in a proper way. So that has to be taken into consideration before you choose a particular structural system. Then the nature and magnitude of the horizontal loading. So whether, as I was explaining, if it is in a windy area, if the wind speed is very high, then what type of structural system has to be adopted? Or suppose if it is in an earthquake prone area where there is frequent earthquakes are coming, then how that which structural system will suit for that particular location? So all these things have to be considered before you choose the structural system. Then overall to all these factors, the last and the important one is the human comfort. Human comfort is nothing but whenever you are in the topmost story of that particular building, when there is a heavy wind coming, if the building starts swaying and you at the same time you people are also moving, if there is a sway, then you will have giddiness, you will have some discomfort, vomiting sensation, so many other feelings will come to the occupants of that particular building. So to be taken into consideration. Okay? Whenever you choose a particular structural system, a human comfort is more important. Similarly, the ventilations, the sunlight, everything has to be taken into consideration so that the occupants have to be in a for that be comfortable stay or a comfortable occupancy. Okay, is it clear? I think this is what we have discussed last class. Yes, isn't it? Here we have stopped last class. Yes. Isn't it? Can you give me a quick feedback? One by one. Jagan.
Ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kritika. Then Shweta, please give me a quick response.
Yes,
Otherwise, it will be a one. It will be an interactive session. Shweta, tell me.
clear, ma'am.
Clear. Kabir Su, because
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
we have discussed last class.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Ergibe. Mikyas.
I was
Is it clear?
it's clear.
Is it understood?
Yes, yes, it's clear. Yeah, understood.
Yes.
Yes. If there is any difficulty in between, you can raise your hand. You can stop me. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So now let us move on to the next slide. So your first unit, actually the first module actually deals with the design philosophy. What is the design philosophy to be adopted for tort structures? Okay. Now the design process itself, if you consider, okay. Now let me ask you one question. Okay. When you do a construction, isn't it? When you start a construction, from where do you start from? My question is that from where do you start from means bottom to top or from top to bottom? When you really start constructing a structure, from where do you start?